Hello everybody and welcome back to another Schlip on Switch video. With the release of the Switch 2 swiftly approaching, I thought it would be fun to make a series of videos going through all the incredible games that Nintendo has given us. From first-party releases to third-party games that Nintendo published in North America, to first-party IP that Nintendo let third-party developers give us amazing experiences for. The Switch really has an incredible library, and I'll be making a series of videos going through all these year by year. This intro will be the same for all of them, so if you've already seen it, you can skip ahead, or you can watch it again, and each video will be linked in the description below, so subscribe, ring the bell for notification on future videos, and let's get started. I will be focusing only on the games, steelbooks, and the collector editions. While I do have a lot of amazing merchandise from a lot of incredible sources, I'll be only focusing on said products. So let's get started. The first year of the Switch's release gave us a nice variety of different games and experiences to try out. Prior to the Switch's release, I did not play a ton of games. I did play a bit on the Game Boy Advance, the DS, a little bit on the 3DS, the Wii, but I didn't try out a wide variety of games. So when the Switch released and I started collecting more and getting more into gaming, I started trying out a lot of different genres, which was really cool for me because, I was able to see what games I did like, what type of games I did like, what type of games I didn't like. And it was really life-changing in more ways than one, not just in gaming. What the Switch ended up, connections I've made, people I've met, and just moving on. So, year one of the Switch, we got 11 first-party releases that year. And I'm going to start off this video with the true launch title for the Switch. No, not Breath of the Wild, because that was cross-platform. The true launch title of the Switch on March 3rd, 2017 was 1-2 Switch. Everyone's favorite launch title. This game does get a bad rap. Being a $50 release and a tech demo was a little overblown. I'm not going to argue with that, but I had a lot of fun playing this game. I'm pretty sure this is the first game I played when I got the Switch. And I just had so much fun playing, trying out the Switch and the technology with different friends and doing all the different little mini games and just quick draw over and over and over and over and over for hours. It's just the silliness of this game was just really, really, really fun. And, no matter what the haters say, this game does have a special place in my heart. So, after this, we're going to move on to showing off all the other games that we got over the... It's not really the first year of the Switch, but the first year that the Switch was out in 2017. So, hope you enjoyed this video, and let me know in the comments what you think of 1-2 Switch. And let's get going on the rest of the 10 games that 2017 brought us. Enjoy! The second game that Nintendo gave us on the Switch's release launch day is The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. As a cross-platform game, I got the Switch version. There was also a special edition and a master edition that released in the US. Unfortunately, I did not pick either of those up. Later on Black Friday, they released a Explorer edition, which I did get. And even later, on October 10th, 2021, they released an updated cartridge with all the DLC included, only in Japan though, and I did not get that. Now, to talk about the game, I would like to introduce back to the channel my friend Ellie, and welcome my friend Chaim. So, as a newcomer to the Zelda series, and open world games in general, I was cautiously interested in this game, and I absolutely loved it, and I will discuss more later. But first off, Ellie.
Hey, so when I got my Switch, I got it for Breath of the Wild, and what instantly captivated me was the graphics, the simplicity of the game, the very soft, mellow music, which allowed me to explore the game nicely, and the story. I thought it was a really good game, and I'll explain more why in a sec. Fine?
I'll piggyback off that. I thought the sound design was great. I felt totally immersed. Like in any album, just really chill, good vibes. I loved so much of the visual, but I felt like the story was really lacking. It didn't have enough linearity because as a long-term Zelda fan, I felt that was lacking. But the voice acting was a welcome change. I felt way more connected because of that. but so much of the pathos was lost when we're essentially cutting out what made Zelda Zelda, because there's all these moments within the story that are significant. But I get it, it's the first open world in the series.
So, for me personally, being the first Zelda game that I probably played, and also my first real open world game, I found it mesmerizing just the simplicity and emptiness of the world with the calamity just essentially causing an apocalypse and just going through the world, finding the enemies, finding the weapons. I know it's controversial, but I personally loved the weapon breaking system because it constantly made me switch up what I was doing, constantly made me fight to get new weapons, to explore. And unfortunately, I don't have the same attention span anymore, but there was just something that I cannot recapture about the just picking up my Switch and with no goal in mind, but just to enjoy the world. With
The world was great, but without the DLC, it felt like an incomplete experience. Before I played the game, before I had a Switch, I asked some of my friends who had a Switch and played the game, said, you need the DLC, you need the DLC, the game is totally incomplete. And I really get that. Because I somewhat like the weapon crashing breaking system, but I really didn't like the fact that to get all those weapons, you had to go through all those stupid Korok seeds. Do not even start me on Korok seeds. I have Korok trauma.
I didn't even bother with the Korok seeds. I as well as the shrines, by the way. The shrines, I didn't do any of them except the minimum amount to get the Master Sword. I didn't really enjoy the physics type thing.
Same.
Physics puzzles are really not my forte at all, so I just did the absolute minimum when it came to that. In terms of the weapons breaking system, yeah, I didn't care for that too much. Once I got my Master Sword, I really didn't do any other weapons unless it was more powerful than the Master Sword.
So the Master Sword was a joke. The Master Sword was a joke.
I really have to go back and play some of the other Zelda games to know what you two experienced playing all those other games, comparing it to before you played this game, because I just know this game. But I just loved knocking out all the shrines, figuring all that out. I did not get all the Korok seeds, but I did enjoy the Korok puzzles that I found. I didn't max out all my inventory, but I had fun with that. I just loved just sitting in the world, and then, I did use some guides to find all the shrines, but I had a great time doing that, and, I just loved playing this game objectiveless, and it's not something I could focus on anymore.
So one of the things for me that really made the game, not so much the open world, well, open world, yes, because it reminded me of the first Zelda. We could just go and explore. It wasn't linear. You were able to actually go and explore wherever you wanted at any time. Of course, if you went to a high-level area, you were killed.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
You were still able to explore, and there was no set rules on where you had to go. Another thing that made it for me, and this is something that really was awesome, was the voice acting and the cutscenes. The cutscenes for me with the voice acting was amazing. Like, I mean, a spoiler alert in case, but like some of the cutscenes were like some of the ending cutscenes towards the end of the game, like when you're fighting the calamity or before you fight the calamity, and the stuff that it shows. Absolutely breathtaking.
Especially when they're fleeing, especially when they're going through the woods and Zelda's having this meltdown because she failed everyone. And that was beautiful. But the game needed more structure to get you there. And I get that. It's post-apocalyptic. That Link has lost all of his memories. But it doesn't feel like it has a big enough payoff at the end.
You're referring to the actual memories themselves. There's like 11 or 12 memories or something. I'm not talking about those. Those cutscenes are great as well. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about the cutscenes, like, let's say, after you fight all 4 divine beasts and then you get to the calamity and there's a whole cutscene there. Yeah. Those cutscenes or the cutscenes that are leading up to the divine beasts, of you entering the divine beasts with Varoli and Urbosa and the other
Mipha and
Daruk. Yeah, so like those.
Talking about Mipha, the champions, one complaint they did have the game is before you got the divine beast, you had that little mini game with each of the 4 champions.
Descendants.
I wish that you were able. The champions' descendants. I wish you were able to replay those sections, especially. I forgot which character, but the Zora, the Rivali section.
That was with Teba.
Yeah, with Teba. That was so much fun flying there. And I wish I was able to play that section again, but the game didn't let you do that.
I felt the same way with Sidon, Because Sidon is such a likable character with that smile.
Oh, with the teeth and then...
Yes.
Sidon's just amazing. Revali and Sidon are my favorite characters from that game.
But can we also talk about how those Divine Beasts felt like the same thing every time? Maybe slightly visually different.
Yes.
But the fact that there's 4 things you gotta trigger. Oh my god, 4 things to trigger. Oh my god, here's another one. Oh my god, another. And they felt so empty. And when you did it, yeah, you got some great cutscenes. But where was the payoff in those dungeons that you got from the older Zelda games, where there's like a totally unique boss, not a damn clone of Ganon?
Oh, the Blights, yeah. Water Blight, Thunder Blight, and the other Lightning Blight, or whatever the hell they're called.
And then whatever abomination it was in the end, Ganon, that was an abomination. What was that?
I thought that was personally cool. I also, it's just funny talking about the...
Ganon.
I'm traumatized from that.
Talking about all the different Divine Beast bosses, I will have this memory in my head of playing this game while getting stranded in Chicago.
Worst airport ever.
Between flights, trying to get to a cousin's wedding, managing to go to a cousin's house in Chicago that I didn't really know all that well, just to spend the night before another flight, and just in their house playing and defeating my first Divine Beast and the boss there.
Which one was it?
Windblight. That was just...
Really? That was the first?
Yeah, that was the first one I did.
That's the most inconveniently far out of the way. I went straight to, like, Zora's Domain.
Yeah, I was just having fun exploring.
What was yours?
I think mine would have been... I think mine was Zora's Domain as well. But can we talk just about the music for a moment in this game? I happen to love music in general. I'm a music person. I mean, more rock, but like when it comes to video game music, I happen to love music. And some of my favorite tracks were like, I love the exterior of when you get to Hyrule Castle, the music that plays, and the interior, and how it integrates Zelda's Lullaby at some point.
I did also love the soundtrack for this game. I actually ended up buying a 5-disc soundtrack from Japan.
Ooh.
And even though some of the tracks aren't, like, incredible music, I just love the muted undertone that fits so well in with this game.
How about the Divine Beasts, where if you listen carefully, you can hear the da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, the SOS signal. And you listen to the one for the Divine Beast Faruta, you hear her immediately calling out for help, whereas...
I didn't catch... I'm known for seeing details in games, but I didn't actually pay close enough attention to the music in terms of, like, hearing the SOS signal, but I just listened to the music in general, like when I got... And I thought that the remix of the main theme when you fight Ganon, the Beast Ganon out in Hyrule Field, I thought that was so epic. That was I felt that that music fit the fight to a T.
Okay, I can agree with that. I really agree with that.
So,
I also loved, if you ever knew the older Genshis in the series, I know you do, Ellie, but when you're at the Temple of Time, there is a very deconstructed theme from the Ocarina of Time Temple of Time.
Yes.
And if you know, you know. It's like that exact moment. It's like, oh my gosh. And it's basically the same Temple of Time from Ocarina of Time, but just totally destroyed.
Yes.
So that was some of our thoughts on this game. Let us know in the comments below what you thought of this game. And did you play it on the Switch? Did you get the Switch at launch to play this game? Did you get it later? Or did you play this game on the Wii U before the Switch came out? So let us know in the comments, and let's move on to the next game now. Next up, on April 28th, we got Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which was our first Wii U game ported to the Switch. With some added content, this made this game a truly incredible experience. There was also a steelbook that was available as a purchase bonus at Best Buy. This was not available at release date. I'm not sure the exact release date for when they started this promotion, but that's where the steelbook was available. This game was really incredible with all the old content and the new content, and even later down the line we got the expansion pass, and which added a lot more courses and characters, and later on they gave it a updated cartridge with the DLC included, and that first released on October 6, 2023 with waves 1 through 5 on the cartridge, and then even later they had an even more updated cartridge that included waves 1 through 6 all on the cart. I did not pick that up yet though. So, to talk about the game, I'd like to bring back my friend Chaim.
Good to be back.
So, Mario Kart 8 I was really excited to see that Mario Kart was coming to the Switch. I really enjoyed some of the previous Mario Karts that I played, and when when I had the Switch, I'm like, I need a good Mario Kart. So obviously pre-ordered it, and when the game came, I just thought myself, I'm just played every single race that day, and then later on, I started playing with more people. One interesting little, funny little story, I guess, is I was working at a school and living in a boarding school while working as a cook there, and I used to play with some of the students when they weren't in class, and there was just something that is that I will never be able to replicate of playing Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on the launch Switch tabletop mode, 4-player, each person with a Joy-Con. It is tiny, it is chaotic, it is everyone just huddling over that Switch, which is so much fun. And we played hours and hours of this game like that. And since I was usually player 1 in the top left corner, all the other people used to just mash the screenshot button, so half of my screen was just blocked off. It was chaotic. My Switch is just way too many screenshots from those days. More. And we did that for a while, and then one day I was just sitting in my room in the school, and I hear a knock on my door, and I open it up, and some of the boys from the school are just standing there with a 32-inch screen that they found on the side of the road, and they're like, let's see if this works. So we set it up, and we just elevated on Mario Karts, and some days when they didn't have classes, and we're still in, it was a boarding school, so the boys lived there, and some days they just avoided class. We used to just play Mario Kart for like 6 hours straight. It was fun. We had so much fun just playing this game over and over. Seeing who can beat who. It was just a blast. The courses here are all incredible. The music is just phenomenal. The graphics are just beautiful. And I know a lot of people say that it's a shame that the Switch never got its own Mario Kart, but I feel like we didn't, especially with all the DLC. What do you think of the game, Chaim?
I mean, as someone who's played almost all of the 3D Mario Karts, including the one that was on 3DS, and Double Dash 64, and Mario Kart Wii, and this being basically the same as it is on Wii U, I really thought it did good for this generation, but it wasn't the best one I've played. I liked the sound design, music looked great. I thought there was a lot of characters, but I guess because I was always a Double Dash guy, I love the fact that you could rotate your partners and the race, and you could do that. And if you're playing 2-player, you could effectively have one of you switch driving, which is such a cool concept, and they never continued that. This, however, delivered some beautiful boards, and of course the nostalgia of the old boards. I could go for hours about Rainbow Road from 64. I will always be salty, though, that they made that into a 1-lap race, when I love the chaos of all 3 laps. It should be a 6-minute race. It should be a 6-minute race, always. And I thought it was just so fun how reactive some of the boards are, some of the boards having changes, and especially the mobile races that made it in there that were more international inspired. The amount of sites that you see there, probably the Parisian one is my favorite, because I'm like, I've been there, I've been to Paris, I know what that all looks like. It was beautifully replicated.
So, as someone that doesn't like multiplayer games as much as I do single-player games, Mario Kart is just a game that I can just come back to over and over and over and over.
I feel like that about Mario Party. Mario Party is like the better version of Mario Kart, where it literally is a friendship ruiner. Mario Kart, with the infamous blue shell, it's not the same thing. I know some of y'all go on about the blue shell is the friendship ruiner. No, Mario Kart with Mario Party with chance time is a friendship ruiner.
There is no greater feeling than when you manage to dodge a blue shell with a mushroom. I love that. The few times that I've done that, it just gives you such a rush.
Or the few times that I've hit you with a shell and you're falling behind, and I've beaten you that one time.
One time.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I beat you.
Yeah, but you can't play the original 64 version and beat me.
No, that I cannot do.
Yeah, that's a challenge. You gotta beat me on that. You gotta beat me in that. Oh, and also in Double Dash.
I've actually never played Double Dash, so...
How can you... we have to change that.
Yeah, Double Dash is the only one I've never played, because I played NES, I played the SNES, 64, Game Boy, DS, 3DS, Wii... And 8, I never played it on the Wii U, but I played 8 Deluxe. So
cycling back to the old tracks they brought back, I was really excited to see all the N64 and GameCube tracks they brought back, and of course Wii tracks. But I honestly was not that excited about some of the old tracks from games that I thought, I don't want to see that, because that's not what I'm here for. But I get that they want to appeal to everyone, I get that. I just would not have wanted that.
So having all, the starting off with the 32 tracks, and then having all the Wii U DLC expanded, so starting this game with 48 tracks, and then having the DLC for this game making it to 96 tracks. This game is just loaded with tracks.
I would say it's stacked with tracks.
It
is stacked.
It just has a great variety to play through. And I will pick up the DLC cartridge. I'm just not prioritizing it.
Yeah.
I do want to have that in my collection, though, because this game is just incredible.
Will it have a different box art?
It kind of. It does have like the box art and then just like a banner on the bottom that has the logo for the DLC.
Special.
I'm really curious how many tracks they're going to have in Mario Kart 9, because I'm assuming they're not going to have 96 tracks, but I'm wondering if they're going to...
They should start at least with 96 tracks.
Have with 48.
They need to have 96, because going less than that is not acceptable, really.
I think it is, because half of that is DLC for this game. So I feel like if they go...
Yeah, but at that point,
48,
I have higher expectations. Like, if they're unveiling all the stops they're pulling up for Switch 2, I have ridiculously high expectations, because that's how I felt about Tears of the Kingdom. I had way more expectations going into that.
Right now we're talking about this, but I'm sure by the time this video is live, we will know a lot more about Mario Kart 9, or whatever they're going to call it. And I might even have played it at the Switch 2 preview event by the time you see this video.
You have.
I'm not sure if this video is going to go live before or after that event, though. So, probably before, though. And then, I'll be able to play it right after, because I'm so excited for that. And it's really awesome that Mario Kart 9, because the Switch didn't have its own unique Mario Kart, is seeming like that's going to be the launch title for the
Will it be
Switch
cross-generation?
I don't know. Probably not. I really hope the Switch 2 doesn't do too many cross-gen games. That's just my personal...
Because they don't need to do that, because Twilight Princess was the last one I could think of.
Well, Breath of the Wild.
That was too recent. I'm talking about the one
Well,
that was...
the thing. Like, that was a cross-gen game.
Yeah.
Anyways, Mario Kart 8. Let me know what your favorite tracks in the game are, and who is your main character. I usually go for Breath of the Wild Link. At least when they added Breath of the Wild, Link and Ted. I used to do... I don't know, I used to change around more. So yeah, let me know who your main character is and what your favorite track is.
Mine is definitely Daisy, hands down.
Yeah, alright. And now let's move on to the next one. Next up, on July 21st, we got Splatoon 2. While Splatoon 1 was really popular on the Wii U, it was cool to see a new release for the Switch. This game also got later on around Black Friday a starter edition with a guidebook and just a guidebook, yeah. And there was also a DLC cartridge that released around the same time as the Breath of the Wild one on October 10th, 2021. I was really excited to try this game out. Again, I didn't play a lot of games. I was just trying out new genres with this Switch. I wasn't actually in the US when this released. I was in Switzerland for the summer, working there in a summer program. So I bought the game digitally, and I had a lot of fun playing it, playing the battles. I really enjoyed the Salmon Run mode more because I enjoyed the cooperative versus the competitiveness of it. I did later on pick up the physical with the starter edition. And I played this I played quite a lot of it. But I also realized that I don't like multiplayer and competitive games as much as I do like single player experiences and stories. So this helped me figure out my tastes, and I really enjoyed the game for when I played it. So that does have a special place in my heart. So Splatoon 2. Let me know what you think, what you thought of it, if you played it till it was done. Let me know. All right, next up, on June 16th, Nintendo gave us ARMS. This was a very interesting boxing style games with the motion controls and the Joy-Cons and the really cool and unique characters. The music was a lot of fun in this game. I had fun playing around with it. I never got super into it. I did play a little bit with some friends and had some fun fighting around. And the theme song for this, though, I loved it. I had it as my alarm clock for a few months. And just it's really fun seeing all the unique charm and ideas that Nintendo comes up with, even though later on they don't do as much with the unique concepts of the Switch. But this was a really, really cool idea and experience, and I did enjoy the bit I played, even if ultimately it wasn't something I played long term. Next up, on August 29th, we got the incredible Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. This game, leading up before the Switch, before the Switch launch, I would always look up leaks and rumors and stuff coming out. I saw leaks and rumors of this, and I saw people being like, what the heck would a Mario and Rabbids crossover be? But I heard turn-based RPG, and being a big fan of the Mario and Luigi series, I was really excited for this. And then when we finally got to see it at E3, that was it just looked so good. And everyone was saying it was good, and then when we finally got it, I loved this game. I didn't get it right away, but I did pick up the collector edition for the game. It was a really nice collector edition. This game was also my first real experience into a tactical RPG with the grid-based systems and figuring all that out and the cover it and using the cover. I had a blast. I love the humor and the style and the wit and the charm and the arts. The art direction, and this game was just really, really incredible. And I love in the collector edition we got this little Rabbid Mario figurine, and when the sequel to this game launched, the Nintendo New York store had a launch event with the director Davide Soliani and the composer Grant Kirkhope, and I'll talk about that more for the Sparks of Hope. But I did get my little Rabbid Mario signed by them. Hopefully I'm angling this correctly. And this is just one of my prized possessions. This game was just really, really, really good, and really showed me a lot of what it can be. There was DLC also for the game, but there was no updated cartridge, so there's a gold edition that comes with a DLC code, but I only have this one. I love this game, and really introduced me to the tactical RPG genre, which I've really enjoyed moving forward. Next up, on September 22nd, we got Pokken Tournament DX, the second Wii U port for the Switch. This game was, it's a really good fighter game, but then I enjoyed playing it and trying it out. But again, as I was saying, I didn't play a lot of different genres prior to the Switch release, so I was excited to try out a lot of different things, and I like Pokemon, so having the Pokemon fighting game was a lot of fun. But ultimately, I realized I'm not a big fan of, this style fighting game, I didn't really play Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat or Tekken. I never played any of those. So this was my introduction to that genre, and showed me that genre is not one for me. I did enjoy it, the hours that I played on it, but it ultimately didn't really stick. The next game, though, actually, I forgot to move this to the side. The next game, though, we have Fire Emblem Warriors. This game, this game was both my first Fire Emblem experience and my first Musou experience. So we got two franchises that this was my introduction to. And also came with a really, really nice special edition. I love this special edition. I always loved this. This was one of my first collector editions that I got, and I really, 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 really liked it. Now, Fire Emblem Warriors brings a lot of different characters from a lot of the different Fire Emblem games into a Musou game with a unique story and universe. And while I didn't play any of those games, so I didn't really know the characters, I didn't connect to any of the characters, I was hooked on this game. Learning the Musou combats, while also the tacticalness of the Musou combat, I should say, while having these massive battles, 1 versus 1,000, and also commanding your other characters to protect your bases and attack other bases, and switching between the battlefield and flying around. I just had a blast playing through this. This was really, 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 really fun. And I've just fell in love with those Musou games, and I really should check out some of the actual main Warriors games, but because the only ones I played were the Nintendo ones, but this was really cool. Another really interesting thing about this was one of 2/3 games, which I'll talk about more later, that launched as a cross-platform between the 3DS and the Switch. So I just find that really interesting that we got some cross-platform Switch and 3DS games. So, Fire Emblem Warriors, what did you think of this game? Let me know in the comments. And yeah, let's move on to the next game. Next up, on October 27th, we got the long-awaited new 3D Mario with Super Mario Odyssey. This game did not come with any collector edition, but a while after release, they released a little bundle called Explorer Edition that came with a little guide. I did not pick that up, though, but it was very similar to the ones that came with Zelda Breath of the Wild and with Splatoon 2. Now, to talk about this game, let's welcome back Chaim.
Ooh, double trouble now.
So, Super Mario Odyssey, I was really, really excited for this game, and when I got it, I just played it a lot, but I kind of sped through the main story, and then afterwards went back to just like replay the levels and go through not replay the levels, but re-explore the levels and gather more moons. What was some of your thoughts on the game?
I thought it was probably one of the best looking mainline Mario games I have seen since Sunshine or Going Out There on a Branch, Thousand Year Door. I loved just all the costumes. Like Mario as a hipster, peak aesthetic. Mario dressed up in that 18th century costume or the zombie, peak aesthetic right there. Like life goals. But the biggest thing for me was Mario always brings nostalgia. I love the transformations, all the things you get to possess, but I didn't like the lack of replayability on certain aspects, and the fact that certain levels had a really cool vibe before you did the main thing and you kept moving on. New Dawn was great with the storm and all that aesthetic, but the fact that it's not obvious to go and change these things back or to revisit them, it kind of knocks it down several pegs, despite getting a lot of stuff right.
I really did love the worlds and the visuals and the music and the captures just made it so much fun, and changing your costume. All those aspects were really fun. But there was something that I did miss about, the previous games. You had a level structure. You were able to easily replay missions, replay bosses, replay some cool moments. With this game, most of those things, while it was fun having these massive sandboxes to just explore and collect all these moons in different ways, on one hand, not being able to easily replay all these challenges was a bit lost on the game. And also, because there were so many moons, even the ones that were cooler and better didn't feel as exciting as the smaller ones.
There's a cinematic moment you're missing, like
you
in
just had the same
64, Sunshine, Galaxy 2. All of those had that video and the little jingle. And it gave you that accomplishment that I got something.
I mean, the moons also had that, but because there was 900 moons, they
not really.
Cut
No.
it down. It was to a smaller extent.
It was so reduced that it didn't feel like a significant thing, and the fact that you could also go and buy a bunch of moons and basically get to 999 without really actually.
I think the max was 900.
Whatever. I thought it was like 999, but I could be wrong. I just hated the fact that it trivializes the experience of getting a star, getting a power star, which is now like a moon. So it's like, it's a cool idea, but it was not well done. Also, Mario losing coins when he dies and not having whatever felt like a really weird game over.
No, I loved that because it wasn't the level structure that we've had in other ones. I love that they did change it to just losing coins when he died to keep that sandbox feeling better.
I don't like sandbox in Mario. Just like in Zelda, it does not work for me.
It's weird because one way I loved it and one way I didn't. It's going to be really cool to see what they do with the next 3D Mario, because after this we only got remakes and remasters besides for Bowser's Fury, which we'll talk about then.
But let's talk about that moment where Mario and Bowser are literally kind of broing it up at the end when Peach just totally dumped them. That was amazing.
Spoiler alert, post tense. But the ending for this game just gave me so much feels. Also, one of my favorite moments of the game was when you're flying and get attacked by that dragon. That was just changed the vibe of the game for me.
Oh yeah, that was classic. And it was no one saw that.
And that boss battle was so... I loved that section so much.
It had a great story. Let's be real. It had a great story, but it wasn't well executed. And I hope Nintendo takes notes of this, that people like Mario as it was, but they can also still innovate and do something. Something like this, but something that's like the other ones.
So yeah, obviously we have different views of the game, and that's what's fun, to be able to discuss it and see what each person likes about the game and doesn't like about the game. So let us know in the comments below what you liked and didn't like about this game, and what your favorite worlds were. Because mine was the dragon one.
I still want Super Mario Sunshine 2.
What was your favorite world in this one, though?
My favorite world was most likely New Donk City. That's the one that sticks into my head the most because the storm section just left an impression on me because it's dark, it's edgy, and Mario doesn't typically get that.
Next up, on November 10th, we got the physical release for Snipper Clips Plus. Snipper Clips was a digital launch, much of launch there, launch window release that later got a Plus expansion with some DLC, and this is the physical version for that, which released November 10th of 2017. I had a lot of fun playing Snipper Clips by myself, figuring out the puzzles, or with some friends figuring out the puzzles, some of the battle modes. Just a lot of fun. And it's always a game that I've always wanted to go back to and play more, but it just one that I haven't. I just need to sit down with someone and just play it because this is a really fun game. Really cute puzzles, and it would be cool to see more like this later on in Nintendo's lifespan. So Snipper Clips Plus, what did you think of it? Let me know in the comments and let's discuss it. And now for our last game of 2017, we have Xenoblade Chronicles 2. This game released on December 1st, 2017, and it came with a collector edition. I have the US collector edition, and inside it came with a really nice steelbook. And the European collector edition for the game had the same contents, but the steelbook just had a slightly different glossing on it. So because I love this game so much, I did get both steelbooks for it. And the Japanese steelbook, instead of having a steelbook for the game, it actually had the soundtrack in a steelbook. So while the main artwork for each of the steelbooks is the same, is theoretically 3 different steelbooks. Now, to talk about the game, I'd like to welcome back my good friend, Ellie. Hi, Ellie.
Hi.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
So, Xenoblade Chronicles. I was not super hyped for this game leading into it. I previously played Xenoblade Chronicles 3D on the 3DS, and I did not really like it. I just played a drop, but I'll talk about it more when we talk about Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition in a few years. Anyways. But I ended up picking up the game, and I started playing it, and I fell in love with the game. I was really enjoying it, and then I think in Chapter 4, I got stuck on a boss. I put the game down for a few months, and later on picked it back up, and I could not put it down until I finished it. What did you think of the game, Ellie?
So I actually had mixed feelings and mixed reviews on this game in my mind. On the one hand, I really loved the graphics. The music was absolutely amazing. I loved the voice acting, the story. But there were a couple of turnoffs for me. Mainly the fighting, the battle system. The battle system was, in my opinion, was very, very complex. You had to you had to use the drive. I believe it was the driver system, and you had to hook up 3 or 4 different drivers, and then you had to switch between them. And then you also had on the bottom the arts and the crafts or whatever they're called in that game. And there was so much noise on the screen in terms of like the icons and everything. It was very 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 daunting for me, and it was a complete turnoff. And I literally rage quit the game because I could not stand that battle system. It was just so horrible.
So, as I was saying, this is one of the big downsides of the game. The battle system is very slow and light in the beginning of the game, and then slowly introduces you to more and more. Was this your first Xenoblade game, Ellie?
No, actually, it was not. My first Xenoblade game was Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, which I thought. Well, I'll talk more about it in another video, but I thought the battle system was a lot simpler and a lot more.
So it's interesting to know how I played this one first, while Ellie played Definitive Edition first, and we'll discuss together that during that video. But I loved learning this battle system, and I did try to encourage Ellie to stick around more to see when the battle system really gives it its good flow, because I think he got about where I first put the game down. Maybe he got a little further. I don't remember exactly, but I did try to get him. But, not everyone has to play every game, because not every game is for everyone. That's what's awesome about gaming, because everyone can like different things.
Don't get me wrong. As I say, there was some stuff I loved about this game. Like, I could listen to the soundtrack, for hours. The music was great. I could listen to the voices for hours, but
the music in this game is truly phenomenal. I actually spent way too much money buying Xenoblade soundtracks on CDs. I have videos on my channels if you want to look for those. But just exploring this world, finding out the
Yes.
story, meeting the characters,
Yes.
and just seeing where the story would take us, exploring the world. And one thing with the Xenoblade Chronicles series is that the worlds are insanely beautiful. And if Nintendo ever put their games multi-platform, Xenoblade should be the first series to go multi-platform, so other systems' power could just give us these games as beautiful as they can be. Because Monolith Soft just are wizards when it comes to world building and visuals and just making the Switch work so good. And I am not a graphics snob. I am like saying these games, the way this game looks on the Switch handheld is perfect for me. I had so much fun playing this with the low quality visuals, the bad frame rates, and just loving the heck out of every second of this. And the music and the story and the battles. I'm not one of those people that got as deep in the battles as some people I see online doing. But I enjoyed it. I loved it.
Oh, I would love it if it went cross-platform. If I could play Xenoblade Chronicles on my PS5, woo, that would be. I would love to see the power of the PS5 with the Xenoblade Chronicles game, but unfortunately, that probably is not going to happen anytime soon. But I want to just reiterate that the only thing I did not like was the battle system. I love the exploring. I love the character development. I love the story. I love the interactions. I love the cutscenes. I actually did like the game, but
There are some things in this game that future entries in the series changed up, and it would be really cool to see if this game does down the line get like a definitive edition to see if they change anything like some of the field skills and stuff like that. This game is phenomenal. It was really crazy to see, like, when this game came out, being the first Xenoblade to launch on the Switch. Now we know the entire Xenoblade Chronicles series is on the Switch. And that's just incredible. And it's also crazy how, like, when this game came out, I was not that hyped for it. And now it is my favorite Nintendo series. Like, just hands down, my favorite Nintendo series. And, as of recording of this video, I did not yet get my copy of Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition, but I cannot wait to sink who knows how long into that game.
and I can't wait to come over and try the game. So I heard from Schlib, and I saw trailers, and I read in my magazine, Nintendo Force magazine, that it looks like a phenomenal game, so I can't wait to actually try it and see what it's like.
So yeah, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, just really, obviously me and him are not seeing eye to eye in the game, but that's what's fun, just discussing with friends what you did and didn't like about games. And also with the music, Counterattack from this game is my favorite video game track of all time, hands down, just have to call that out. So yeah, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, let me know what you thought in this game in the comments below, and let's discuss it. And now, thank you for sticking around for year 1. This has been fun. I will be linking future years in the description below. And this was the first entry in this series, and I hope if you watch this, you stick around for more of this series. This has been a lot of fun. So comment below, stay tuned, subscribe, ring the bell for notification on future videos, and thank you for watching. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.